From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Tuesday's edition of For the People on November the 14th, 2017. We don't know if we have the serial killer in the Tampa Bay area return, but there's some new activity overnight. Another body was found, and this marks, 4 bodies now in Tampa Bay? 4 of them. Yeah, this Tampa neighborhood up in Seminole Hills, shaken again early this morning after a body was found close to where these 3 other people were killed, within a half a mile of each other last month, and once again sparking fears of a serial killer in the Sunshine State. Tampa police working the investigation of this suspicious death in Seminole Heights, where residents have been in fear more or less since mid-October. 3 people fatally shot within a 10-day period, and because of that, the officers have saturated the area more or less. They've gone door to door for a suspect or any potential witnesses, according to Fox 13, which is I could literally just go out my door and throw a stone at the Fox Tower. That's where we are in Tampa, right next to Fox 13. Anyway, this is troublesome because it's another body. It's another human being. There's a serial killer, folks, that's still on the loose. Police officers are all over the place. Tampa police spokesperson Steve Haggerty said, "We hope to catch him before he gets outside the area." Police received a report of shots fired around 4:51 a.m. Eastern Time and responded within a minute to find the body of a 60-year-old. His name was Ronald Felton in the street. Interim Police Chief Brian Dugan said at a news conference. Dugan said that the suspect is described as a black male with a thin build, dressed in black, wearing a baseball cap. It's unknown what type of weapon was used in the shooting. The investigation has caused a main road to be shut down as part of that investigation. They say right now, mayor's telling cops in search for killer to bring his head to me. Right now, we're treating it as related until we rule otherwise, he said, referring to the other killings. Dugan said that he believes the killer lives in the neighborhood and asked for everyone to just simply pay attention. If you remember what several weeks ago, the police chief invited, I don't know if it was invited, it was mandatory, but they had a meeting with people in that Seminole Heights community, and he says quite possibly, you know the murderer. Somebody knows who the person is, and they might live with you, they might live in back of you, but chances are you know who he is. So this is definitely upsetting the locals there in the Seminole Heights area, and he wants the killer's head. He's tired of this. It's definitely terrorized this part of Tampa. I get calls from friends saying, hey, stay away from Seminole Heights. Be honest with you, I don't have any business in that area. That's a different part of town. I live in South Tampa. I work more or less in South Tampa. So that's kind of the northern side. So I really have, again, no dealings in that particular place. I do know people that live on that side of town, and I'm guessing that they're pretty on edge about the whole thing. And I would be the same way. The mayor, Bob Buckhorn, he's Tampa's mayor, believes that the suspect lives and this coincides with what the chief of police is saying, lives in close proximity to the killing, and officials need residents to think about what they heard last night. This is personal. This has got to stop, he told reporters, adding, we need to catch this killer before we have to notify one more family that one of their loved ones is dead. The killings in Seminole Heights last month led the department to increase police patrols here in Tampa, into that neighborhood specifically in Seminole Heights, and all the victims were alone and had gotten off a bus before they were killed. Last month, Buck Ward told officers at a briefing to hunt down the killer, bring his head to me, still saying the same thing. It's the cameras everywhere. I guess you just can't have every single inch every single day. I mean, it's been several weeks, since the last killing. But this is so bizarre. I mean, we don't know. I guess we'll find out, and we'll be on it. What we don't know, and what they're trying to pin together, is if this suspect that just killed the fourth is actually the serial killer. And I guess we're going to try to put those pieces together. I'm certain that overnight, or during today, we'll find out more detailed information and I'll let you know about it. But that's one of the issues going on here in my neighborhood, so to speak, in the Tampa Bay area. There's a lot of folks that live there, very populated. So it's, you'd be scared to come out, scared to have your kids come out. And especially if you take the bus, if you're out in the evening hours at all. And it's getting dark early. 5 o'clock? So it's a tough one. Sean Hannity took to his show last night, and he was pretty much telling his audience to stop what they were doing when it regards to Keurug. Basically told them to stop destroying the machines. They took it into their own hands. They got upset because Keurug pulled advertising from the actual broadcast. And so listeners really got all upset about it because the liberal group Media Matters decided to go ahead and put some real heat on them. So anyways, Sean Hannity said ceasefire, and let's just bring him up. Do we have it? Yeah, here's Sean Hannity from last night, so I don't have to steal his thunder, but it was great.
Please stop smashing your Keurug coffee machines. I'm going to explain how this company was totally exploited. They are actually a victim in all of this. Now, Keurug was successfully targeted and preyed upon by the most anti-free speech, pro-censorship group in the United States today. It is a group that is bought and paid for by friends and supporters of the Clintons, and as you may have seen, the radical leftist group Media Matters for America, they launched yet another smear campaign against me to try to get me thrown off the air and get rid of all my advertisers.
And this is what George Soros and the likes of him and billionaires and millionaires are trying to do as much as they possibly can to get as many conservatives off the bench, not in political office, not on prominent television shows, and anything in any way, any tactics possibly that they can use to do it. And Keurug CEO Bob Gambert addressed the situation in an email to company employees obtained by the Washington Post, calling the situation unacceptable, and said the move was done outside of company protocols. The memo explained that company advertisers to both liberal and conservative networks, which will continue. Gagort told employees, I apologize for any negativity that you have experienced as a result of the situation and assure you that we will learn and improve going forward. Hannity said Keurug was preyed upon by the most anti-free speech, pre-censorship group in the United States. It is a group that is bought and paid for by friends and supporters of the Clintons, as you may have seen. The radical leftist group Media Matters for America. Sean added that Media Matters launched yet another smear campaign against him to try to get him thrown off the air and get rid of his advertisers. Fox News host stated that what Keurug did was a mistake, and the CEO admitted it and reiterated it to his people to stop, being upset about the whole matter. And in turn, Sean Hannity told his people to stop smashing their machines because there were videos. It just somehow, a memo got circulated around Keurug that Sean Hannity was a big Judge Moore supporter. And as a result of all of this, there was a backlash. And somebody at the very top, and I can't imagine them just pulling the advertising unless it was just a knee-jerk reaction from the advertising department, not running it past the president. But to me, that would be, unless they don't have to address the president of a company and just make that huge decision to pull yank ads without finding all the facts. And there are a whole lot more facts about Judge Moore, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. It's sad, but, if a man has skeletons in his closet and they come back to haunt you and they are real skeletons, then that's one thing, and that needs to be addressed. And, there's going to have to be a day in court for him to be able to explain himself. He tried to on Sean Hannity's broadcast, and it was that broadcast that pretty much brought Keurug to the decision to rip the advertising on. And since they've, put the ads back on, so that's not a worry. But apparently, the judge liked young girls. We're talking teenage, 14-year-olds when he was 20-something years old, and he was banned or something like that from the mall there in Alabama. So that's been a particular issue. So we'll be looking at that a little bit closer. But, please don't smash your Keurug machine. I have one that I'm very fond of. And, liberals drink coffee, tea parties drink coffee, independents, fascists drink coffee. Everybody drinks coffee, that's for sure. But, Media Matters, these people, they are the pond scum of pond scum out there. And if George Soros funds it, the Clintons funds it, and they just love it and they adore it, trust me, they will take a good man out any way they can. And kind of makes me wonder, increasingly, to be honest with you, if they're putting this kind of money, this kind of effort onto being able to disparage Sean Hannity from having Judge Moore on, Roy Moore. Why is it that they did that unless maybe perhaps they are up to this? And who unloads the Washington Post, the New York Times? These are the two liberal papers that put this stuff out. So forgive me if I'm just siding a little bit more with the judge. Michael Buble, huge fan. Little levity here, folks. It's near Christmas, and we got the holidays coming up. I know we haven't even celebrated Thanksgiving yet, but I'm very happy to announce that Michael Buble is going to go back out on tour with limited dates. He had to suspend his music career because his son was diagnosed with cancer last year. And his son, we understand, 4-year-old son Noah, is doing a little bit better with his cancer treatments. And doctors seem to be a little bit more optimistic about his recovery. So I guess he's kind of breathing a little bit easier. Buble is going to play a July 13th concert at BST Hyde Park in London. A video posted on Twitter announced, with tickets going on sale November 17th for the show. We'll also play limited shows next summer in other locations. So that'll be great. And I'll tell you what, forget about it. I know it's not quite there yet, but I think it's looking a lot like Christmas. And I like hearing from Michael Buble, and I'm glad that his son is doing well. Continued prayers for his recovery. All right, Michael Buble, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here on For the People. Come on, everybody, in the Christmas spirit, you got to sing it. You know the song all so well. You may not be able to sing it as well as he, but here he is, Michael.